Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor. There are so many good pieces of news out there today having to do with the digital asset space, but I was going to show you all different kinds of news, but I changed my mind because there's only one that is so huge that it's worthy of talking about all by itself, and that is this Fidelity digital asset trading platform. I've been yelling from the rooftops about the creation of this new digital asset class and how Wall Street is coming. And today's announcement was the first, it's the first of a large wave of traditional brokerage companies that are jumping into this space. And this is what is going to make this so freaking huge for you and for me as XRP holders. I just wanted to go over this briefly. Fidelity says Fidelity services provider Fidelity Investments is launching a cryptocurrency trading and storage platform. Fidelity Digital Asset Services LLC will provide cryptocurrency custody and trading services for enterprise clients, and the company announced. It's important that you understand that this company, Fidelity, is one of the 5 largest financial services providers in the world. They manage $7.2 trillion in assets. So in essence, what this means is all of a sudden, all of those assets that are in various investments, some percentage, even if it's just 1%, some percentage of those assets, all of a sudden, the advisors at Fidelity are going to have an option to put their clients in digital assets as a new asset class. In my opinion, that figure will probably be somewhere around 0.5% to 2% of assets that their financial advisors will say you need to have some exposure to digital assets. And over time, just think about it, Fidelity, and then we already know the New York Stock Exchange is starting back. We know that, I mean, just think of every traditional financial company from Merrill Lynch on down the line. This is life-changing. I tell you over and over, this is the chance of 2 or 3 lifetimes. And this is why you must understand how big this is. If one company is opening up access to their investors and they control $7.2 trillion. Imagine how many times this is going to be repeated by other companies, not just in the United States, but in other countries. SBI Holdings alone is monstrous. And they're just now phasing into this game. It is going to be massive. And I want to take this a step further, and I want, you live in a world. Let me just kind of lay out the world that you and I live in right now. Let's say that you and I want to go buy some real estate. Well, in most of our towns, we have a Coldwell Banker where we can go and we can get a broker to take us out and look at houses, and we can find the house we like, and then those brokers make a percentage. There are multiple companies like this in real estate. There's Remax, Keller Williams, Coldwell Banker. You got Century 21, Home Investors, Weicker. There's several of these. In every town, there are several of these. Now think about insurance. If you need insurance on your house, or you need to insure your car, you can go to Allstate or State Farm. There are several different options for you to buy insurance of various types. If you want to have your money managed, you've got the Merrill Lynches, you've got the Morgan Stanleys, you got the Goldman Sachs, you got E-Trade, you got Fidelity, you got TD Ameritrade. You have so many options. And what I want you to really let sink in today, because remember, This Fidelity announcement, this is just one, and we're talking $7.2 trillion. They're doing it. They're telling you they're doing it. It's coming. And you own XRP, and you're just sitting there waiting for them. Well, what I'm here to tell you is that just like your Coldwell Banker and your Allstate and your Merrill Lynch and all those things that you have in your community right now, and the communities across the world, guess what's going to happen for you in the coming years? And you are this early to the game as an XRP holder, just sitting back waiting. It's already happening around the world. Binance is going around the world. The guy on Twitter, CZ Binance, this guy's going around the world opening Binance digital asset exchanges around the world right now. Do you think Bakkt is going to do the same thing? Do you think Fidelity is going to have a Fidelity digital asset services in your town? And think about it. This is what is so important. I want you to think about it and let this sink in. You own XRP right now. You own the greatest digital asset ever created right now. You have it. You've got it hopefully stored on your Ledger Nano S, and it's put away. And you are just sitting back. And in the evening, you can just sit back and have your glass of wine and understand that all of this is coming. You've beat the entire world. You've beat the entire world to the punch, including the financial industry. You're there. You can sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. It looks nervous when you look at coin market cap on a daily basis, but it's not, because you are here before the monster wave that's coming. And it's going to be a wave of products and services and investment vehicles that you can't imagine. I've been telling you this for this past year, and when I see these articles like this, it just makes me want to scream from the rooftops. Do you understand what this means? And that reminds me of what was that? That reminds me of that. I think what I just said reminds me of that movie Dumb and Dumber, where he changes in the car for the scooter, and the guy walks up to me and goes, "Do you realize what you've done?" Like he's a big idiot for doing this, and then he, I think he calls him a genius for having gotten a scooter. But anyway, that's a side note. Anyway, Dumb and Dumber, if you've never seen that movie, it's a classic, hilarious. Go watch it today. Sorry to get off on that side note. But anyway, what's coming? You're sitting here with your XRP, and you know, a lot of people, they own a stock of some sort. Let's say you own Microsoft stock, and they're sitting there owning that stock, and they're like, yeah, I've gotten in at a good time. I feel like a lot of investors are going to be turned on to Microsoft stock. But you're sitting here with XRP, and it's not just investors that are already on platforms such as, you know, Fidelity or Charles Schwab that can buy your Microsoft stock at any time. You're sitting here with XRP, and those investors you're thinking about most of them don't even have a platform where they could go and buy it yet. Think about how great that is, what a position that puts you in. That's called once in 2 or 3 lifetimes. I'm going to finish this video by showing you. I want you to, if you've got the time, I want you to go and I want you to watch this. A lot of you do not like CNBC. I'm not a big fan all of the time, but I do listen to what some of these guys have to say, because I know this is Brian Kelly, who's on CNBC Fast Money, and he's been a big crypto advocate from day one, and he has a hedge fund as well. And he goes to these conferences and he's plugged in. He knows what's coming. He knows what's happening. If you go to about 1445 in this video, this is from CNBC Crypto Trader. Go to 1445 and Brian Kelly is having a conversation with the guy about what's coming. First thing he says is that sellers are exhausted. And that's the same kind of vibe that I get, and you probably get too, with this market. And then he starts talking about how the custodians and the institutional, the custodianship and the institutional investors, all of that is being geared up. It's coming. Then they bring up the Yale endowment and how they just invested in crypto. And he makes a statement that I thought was very interesting. He said other endowments have now been put on notice that they're going to have to explain why they were not in crypto when this came. And so he was saying that Yale is one of those that all the other endowments of the world look to. And if they see the guy at Yale who's in charge of Yale's investments doing it, they all follow. Then they said something very interesting. They said that there's a volcano brewing, and to me that's a pretty good illustration of where I feel like we're at with XRP. He said that he thinks there's a number of things he thinks could trigger it, including the backed exchange coming out, which I've talked to a lot, the ETF decision, and also another that I haven't mentioned in a while. A lot of these Asian, for those of you that were around, the Asian exchanges, Korea was one of the biggest parts of the world that was responsible for last December's XRP run. Well, Asian exchanges have now gone through some of their regulatory processes, and the Asian exchanges are now starting to come back online. We have the perfect storm of storms. But the one thing that Brian Kelly says in this is the one thing that I'm going to leave you with, and don't forget this, because this is what I've been saying all along, and I've titled this video as such, because this is the truth. The Ripple XRP, and he didn't say Ripple XRP, he just said the crypto bull run in general. But the Ripple XRP bull run that you're about to see will be nothing like we've seen before. It will be much bigger. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that the digital asset investor is here to enjoy the ride with you. Thanks for listening.